One Zambia, One Nation, thank you so much for joining us on the news desk with me, Amos Zulu. Here are the top stories. Crop performance in Kasama impressive. Government empowers more women cooperatives. Canada expresses interest in Zambia's mining sector. Plus, monetary policy rate increases. Now the news in detail. Some beneficiaries of the Food Security Park in Kasama district of Northern Province are happy with the performance of their crops. Ministry of Community Development and Social Welfare staff inspected some farms of over 3,000 beneficiaries, and farmers interviewed by Zanis have explained that the performance of the crop is good due to having received the inputs in good time and favorable rainfall. Here's a report.
These are some of the beneficiaries of the Food Security Park FSP program under the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services in Northern Province. The beneficiaries of this program, which targets vulnerable but viable farmers, have thanked government for distributing farming inputs on time, and their crops are performing well. Memory Muma is one of the beneficiaries of the FSP program in Kasama.
Community Development Committee wali tuafurisha uno mwaka, wali tuletela kwa matawa imbuto, watuletela kuna binzi, watuletela kuna mfundo. Ero nshita wale terepo yali isuma sana. Kuti mwamuna fene filimu file monika. Ero kaidi nemfula na tukate isuma sana kuno kumweso. Kwa ituleta sana kukuteko kupitira muri ba community development abashire tutandaliro kuti bamuno kuti batuafurisha akonge ifi batuafurisha.
Kashi programu kweno kulingana no kufuitwa fo kwena ile twafwa sana. Kulingana no twapokele uno wakwamba na itwafwa sana ngamwati mmone amatabofo yale moneka asuma sana.
Others also explain the benefits of the program.
Akuna moku bifota wanatumika pa programu fintu fyale tushupa twale chuchutika kwena unji kaliro emkwai biro isa mulama kaya kwa lesemo yabera akora tule mune fintu kwena file chinja.
This was reviewed when officers from the Department of Community Development conducted a crop monitoring program in Kasama and Bongwe districts to check on the performance of the crops. A community development officer shared some information on the program.
So, as Kasama district, we received 3,261 total beneficiaries. That's the total caseload that we're supposed to give for beneficiaries. We've got different kinds of categories that we give. So as a community development Kasama, we actually distributed on time according to when we received the inputs.
Reporting for Zanis in Kasama, I'm Jafet Munkondia.
And in a related development, over 120 beneficiaries of the farming inputs under the Food Security Park program in Monga village of Mansa district are expected to yield well this year. Here's a report.
In an effort to attain food security and becoming a middle-income country by 2030, government has introduced social safety net programs, such as the Food Security Park. In Mansa District, the program is benefiting over 2,600 beneficiaries who have been empowered with farming inputs. To ensure that the farming inputs under the program are effectively utilized, the Department of Community Development in Mansa District has intensified monitoring of the beneficiaries.
We do monitoring together with the camp officers, even from the Mansa District Agriculture Office, together with the CWACs and the village admin, to make sure that these people have taken the inputs to the intended purpose. I'm very happy because it's for the first time that this community has benefited from Food Security Park. And to the look of things, you have seen for yourselves that these people are really eager to work.
In Monga area of Mansa District, 130 beneficiaries under the FSP program have put the inputs to good use and are expected to have a good yield.
So muntu ngapoko mufundo kulaba okubwesha ko panu mangasombra kulaba okubwesha kwa masaka yabiri aya matabu. So turamona buno bushoyi muntu nalingo kuba pali uyu mulimo ngatako batadingire kuti mwamuna vyatawe muntu alingire. Ero kabiri turafwako buno kulesho kutira abali abanenso abeso kuma community development twamuna muri inganda na mumwari shala abana banshiwa abekana nabangakano kwanisho kubasunga. So filafine turabura bali abantu no kwabika muri program.
Uyu mufundo balepera muri ubu kumupantu amataba yale isabwino nga twalima ero kabiri yale twafu akono kutira nga yaisapya amataba nsala ikapwa ero kabiri tule afu akona abana banshi wabutusunga kubute kwa mashuninga kwata yakutasha pafe bachitire iyi program na itwafu mfwe balanda kairi program ile yafwana abana butulesunga kabiri kuti natemwa afi batu walirira no kuturundirapo.
The traditional leadership believes through the program the livelihoods of community members will be improved.
Nemona mukishiningisha afye insala kuno kunchenderi nokupwa elio nobupupu nabo bwine bantu abantu abenge ngana bayikwatile fyakulya kwena tete balebira banabo ngefyo kuno moko kwali obupupu eko bwali mulando wakutila abale kwata fyamataba nyabo fye abayikufisipo epe.
Chipini Makasa, Zanis, Mansa District, Luapula Province.
Beneficiaries of the Food Security Pack program in Muchinga Province have refuted claims circulating on social media alleging that the distribution of farming imports for the 2023-2024 farming season in the area delayed and has just commenced. One of the beneficiaries, Chipo Tembo of Kawama Satellite under Luwa Ward in Chinsali District, says she received the farming imports on December 5, 2023, contrary to the reports. Another beneficiary, Pandula Katongo, has also confirmed receiving inputs in December. Miriam Kumwenda now reports.
Following the receipt of inputs in December 2023 under the Food Security Pack (FSP) in Muchinga Province, some beneficiaries in Chinsali District of Muchinga Province who have since planted their crops are elated with the performance of their fields. One of the FSP beneficiary in Luwa Ward under Kawama Satellite, Chipo Tembo, who has since planted maize and beans on a 2-lima piece of land, has dismissed assertions going round on social media that FSP beneficiaries in Muchinga Province are currently receiving inputs for the 2023-2024 farming season.
Bufi umufunda twapoka kale inoshita balebepa fe twapoka umufunda pa 5 December ubo bufi balebepa bale kwate fe okufupula
atensansa ndethirwa nokutotela bwino pafyo nayi kele shachetekene no ko bati umufundo ngakwata lelo na ishire pulikirwa fe ko bati kwena iseni mu chitotu fertilizer mwafueko na tuli mapa kalamba na beans fyonse fidi fyako moneka bwino na mataba ene yonse yale moneka bwino.
Another beneficiary living with a disability, Pandula Katongo, explains how the crops in her field are performing.
Napokele pa 5 December mwaka wapuile pa 5 na lipokele akasaka ka mataba na ka binzi na fertilizer mkwaiba litupele itatu ya kubalira poile ya panshi ali ibili ne apa muluimo kwena ndi wansansa chile ilishanya pakalamba amataba yanzie na ale chitabwino sana.
Kawama and Ntulo Satellite chairpersons are optimistic of a good health.
Ifo kuno kumyeso kumuchinga especially kulubwa mufundo twalipokele fyo bwino takwali no bwafya na beneficiaries abapokele tapali abaletere ama complaints
kyamo kupitamo ku inspect ukumona pantu ngachako batabali mine nishinvo tukasebana fwe ntungurushi so fo tupitiramo pakuturemona abali mabonse kweno no happen basale tubonse tupitemo tubasa nga fobonse bali matakawa kweno ushadi.
Miriam Kumwenda reporting for Zanis in Chinsali, Muchinga Province.
In other news, government has devised modalities of alleviating poverty among women and girls through various economic empowerments. Gender Division Permanent Secretary Mainga Kabika has urged women to join cooperatives for them not to be left out of empowerment programs being implemented. Ms. Kabika was speaking when she donated assorted empowerment equipment to women cooperatives in Kayema and Kaoma districts of Western Province.
The distribution of empowerment equipment to women cooperatives in Western Province has gained momentum as more districts join the queue. Gender Division Permanent Secretary Mainga Kabika is going around the province distributing the empowerment.
Project H1 tunakona kudimolwezezana alweza empower cooperative ilimi ni ma empowerment amangata kweza kumwetini kuku kulima mwetini to ni butchery kafla ya kwa cooperative ilimi twageza kuri kwa bangata ma cooperative kia mangata baba ba empowerment kwa mangata so kona kuli waweza ka spread so that watu bangata waweza benefit twale mongo na kwezeza amka kweza feeding mapepa yale mwabakela specific kana kuina ni bali kadami na bali kwa cooperative mweza decide mongo kuli nubata empowerment h1.
Next on the line is Kauma District, whose women cooperatives have received maize seeds, ox carts, plows, chicken feeds, drinkers, among others. And women in Nkeema District also joined the long queue and received tractors with all accessories, such as planters. Beneficiaries were full of joy and praised the government for the gesture. Zanis News in Nkeema, Western Province.
The news continues. The First Family has donated assorted items to vulnerable members of the community and party officials in 16 wards in Namwala District of Southern Province. United Party for National Development, UPND Chairman General for Special Duties to the President, William Banda, has handed over the donation on behalf of the First Family. Details in this report.
The First Family has donated assorted items to all the 16 wards of Namwala districts. The assorted items include 48 bales of second-hand clothes, 2 wheelchairs, 2 bicycles, a sewing machine, 52 umbrellas, 22 chitenge materials, and about 80 t-shirts. Chairman General for Special Duties, the President, William Banda, handed over the assorted items to the beneficiaries.
This cordial contribution or donation is from the First Lady. The First Lady loves the people, women particularly, and this is not only for Namwala, wherever all the constituencies we are going, all the districts we are going, the First Lady has given the appreciation to the leaders of UPND in most of these places. Some of the beneficiaries of these things we are giving in, like wheelchairs, crutches, they are not UPND. They are those who are displaced people who cannot manage to buy them.
Kwamba tibaweze uswe tuba province official itwakita handover kuliba muka mwini baloba pewa.
The district leadership has appreciated the gifts from the First Family.
The President and the First Lady for this donation. Indeed, it will go a long way to our people in Namwala district.
The elderly woman who benefited from a donated wheelchair is grateful for the gesture. For Zanis, Welinda PV, reporting in Namwala District of Southern Province.
Thank you so much for still staying with us. You are watching Zanis News. Just now we take our first break. We have more news after that.
Kanti kolera kibutuku manyim. Kolera kibutuku wakusululamu. Mutia nani butuku wakolera utasulula ni kutazamu. Mutia kula butuku wakolera usulula meza mfutasi na araisi aya kwa mutabanimu. Mukuliyo ukato kwa mezi mamubili wakingisa kufufulelwamu. Mukuliyo ukona kutimela mwahalalihola zeli shumi kazepeli haiva asafumanili kalafo zambuwamu. Mutu ukona kuyambula chwani butuku wakoleramu. Kunwa mezi asikakeni swakapa kunwa mezi amasilamu. Kuchalicho ni mazo atezi masila kapa kuitusali apiso zetapisizwe ni mezi amasilamu. Kuchalicho zesika kwaelwa ni kuselezwa kwa linzinzimu. Kuchalicho zelobezi ilizeo alisikabukelezwa handemu. Kuchalicho zelekisiwa mama kululumu. Kuchalitolwana manichwalo ni mulo zesika tapiswamu. Luko na chwani kuiselezwa kwa butuku wakoreramu. Kuvilisa mezi akunwa kapa kuvea mwateni chlorine. Mfutuma zelicho zamina pili musikali chakalemu. Mukwae licho zamina kaufela kulisileleza kwa linzinzimu. Musike mwa chalicho za mama kululumu. Mwitu sekali mbalimba nako kaufela. Mi musike mwa itusa bikopo kapa mapepa amuyumba zemasilamu. Mubone kuli mutabani wala telwa mwakali mbalimbamu. mubone kuli kalimbalimba kamina kakenile nako kafela manicholo ni kukwaelwa lingosale litakumina kuzwa kubalikolo la makete.
Ministry of Defense Permanent Secretary Norman Chipakupaku has noted that joint permanent commissions provide a platform for countries to solidify bilateral relationships. Mr. Chipakupaku said this during the closing of the Permanent Secretary's session at the second session of the Tanzania-Zambia Joint Permanent Commission on Defense and Security being held at Hotel Verde in Zanzibar, Tanzania. Our staffer Peggy Coutinho, who covered the event, reports that during the session, experts made recommendations ahead of the ministerial committee to address issues of national security for both countries.
Technical teams from both Tanzania and Zambia at the second session of the Joint Permanent Commission on Defense and Security being held in Zanzibar, Tanzania, have made recommendations on the security of both economies to be approved by the Ministerial Committee. They broke into subcommittees of defense, public security, and state security to come up with recommendations to address numerous concerns, including security concerns along the borders. Ministry of Defense Permanent Secretary Norman Chipakupaku says the engagements provide a platform for the two countries to solidify bilateral relations as well as enhance collaboration, security, and socio-economic matters.
Let me remind all of us that our hard work and commitment in reviewing resolutions of the first session of the Commission and formulating new recommendations to address our mutual challenges will be in vain if we will not fully implement these measures and recommendations within the agreed time frame. Chair, we have a lot of work to do, and the recommendations, most of these recommendations have an impact on the security, defense and security, on the economic development of our two countries.
Tanzania's Ministry of Defense and National Service Permanent Secretary Dr. Faraji Mnyepe has urged the defense and security personnel to work closely for continued peace and tranquility for both nations.
As we are all aware that security challenges might occur in any side of our countries, God forbid. On this note, I would like to urge our defense and security agencies to work more closely in order to bring peace and tranquility to our two nations.
The Permanent Secretary's session, which saw experts break into subcommittees to discuss security issues for both countries, has been concluded ahead of the Ministerial Committee. Peggy Coutinho for Zanis in Zanzibar, Tanzania.
Peggy Coutinho with that report. Now, Ministry of Information and Media Permanent Secretary Thabo Kawana has disclosed that government has embarked on the process to repeal the Independent Broadcasting Authority Act and the Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation Act. Mr. Kawana said this at this year's International World Radio Day commemoration in Dola, that consultations with stakeholders have already been completed. He notes that government is committed to creating a conducive environment for radio and the media in general to thrive, as has been witnessed by the issuance of 60 radio and television licenses across the country in the last 2 years. Here's a report.
Ministry of Information and Media Permanent Secretary Thabo Kawana has officially opened a training workshop for radio stations on the Copper Belt and Northwestern provinces.
We emphasize the need for stations to adhere to the law of the land by not being used to perpetrate hate speech and other vices such as tribalism. Before I delve deep into the contents of my speech, permit me to re-emphasize that we shall not close down any station as a new dawn administration on the basis of who you feature on your stations, as you retain your editorial independence coupled with people's freedom of expression. I will, however, be quick to note that we have, as government, observed with concern the rising levels of abuse of freedom of expression by politicians and members of the public using particularly broadcasting stations. Therefore, the importance of this workshop cannot be overemphasized, and it is expected to drive change in the way content is packaged and presented by stations in order to enhance ethical and professional standards of broadcast media houses, not just in the province, but in the country as a whole.
The workshop comes after the Independent Broadcasting Authority launched the guidelines for enforcement and handling of compliance breaches by broadcasting stations. Independent Broadcasting Authority board member Oliver Kanene says the workshop is aimed at enhancing the quality of presentations of programs for radio stations.
What we try to do as IBA and as the ministry is to help you. It is, when we call you like this, it is not for our benefit only. It is for your benefit, because the better your content is, the more, the bigger your audience becomes. And the more opportunity you have for people, companies to come and advertise or engage with you.
It is evident enough that government is indeed committed to improving the quality of journalism through equipping journalists with skills for handling programs on the radio stations. Jacqueline Mova, reporting for Zanis in Ndola.
Still in the news, a Canadian delegation of investors is in the country to explore opportunities and investment potential in Zambia's mining sector. Canadian High Commissioner to Zambia, Carl Nunes, has admired Zambia's potential and investment in the mining sector, which he says his country would like to exploit. The envoy says this is why a delegation of investors from his country, which attended the just-ended Investing in Africa Mining Indaba in South Africa, have decided to visit Zambia to discover prospects of investing in the sector. Here's a report.
Zambia has continued to attract substantial interest to its mining sector, with more investors visiting the country to explore prospects that lie in the sector. Just after attending the 2024 Investing in African Mining Indaba that was held in South Africa, a delegation of investors from Canada are in Zambia and have expressed interest to invest in the mining industry. Canadian High Commissioner to Zambia attributed the interest by Canadian investors to the stable policies and regulations in the mining sector.
I was here with a delegation from Canada, the Mining Services Trade Association of Canada, and so they had just participated with 4 Canadian companies part of this delegation. They were part of a larger presence at Mining Indaba, and they had a choice for an add-on visit, and of all the countries they could have chosen in Africa, they chose Zambia. For 2 reasons. One is the reputation of Zambia in the mining sector and the opportunities here, but also because our trade officer, our office, was informing them of the opportunities, and they decided to come and see firsthand what was possible.
He also highlighted the other areas of cooperation that Canada is interested in exploiting in Zambia.
I'd like to pursue our trade relationship. I'd like to bring more companies together. Canadian SMEs, so many, the Canadian economy is largely SMEs, which makes us a very good fit for Zambia, because we have Canada, if you look at the mining sector, has a very strong mining sector. We've had companies that have done a lot of work over the years to innovate, and their applications are directly relevant to mining operations in Zambia. Many of our companies will seek to partner, and I know that will create greater capacity working with the local partner, so it will be a benefit to the Canadian, but also a benefit to that local partner. And I think that this type of trade enhances not only the bilateral relationship, but it enhances the workforce in there.
So far, Canadian companies such as First Quantum Minerals and Barrick Gold have invested $1.3 billion and $3 billion United States dollars respectively in the Zambian mining sector. Michelo Lubinda for Zanis in Osaka.
Water Development and Sanitation Permanent Secretary Joe Kalusa has expressed happiness with the progress made on the water project in Mongo District of Western Province under the Integrated Small Towns Water Supply and Sanitation Project. The Permanent Secretary says the project will be handed over to the residents soon. We have more in the following report.
In an effort to improve the delivery of access to quality water supply and sanitation services in peri-urban areas, government initiated the Integrated Small Towns Water Supply and Sanitation Project. The project is being undertaken in Western, Northern, Muchinga and Luapula provinces. A steering committee spearheading the implementation of the project, led by Water Development and Sanitation Permanent Secretary Joe Kalusa, is in Western Province to inspect the works in 4 pilot districts of Sesheke, Senanga, Kaoma and Mongu.
When we look at the works which we have done into Mongu town, the works we have done is excellent. If we look at here at Kansima project where we are, this is where we have sunk 12 boreholes and then with a collection point, and this will be servicing the new area called New Mongu town. So this is a brand new area town with new networks. All the customers will be metered. I'm excited. And then when we look at Lot 1, the same Lot 1 also where we are drawing water from Little Zambezi, it's a full package which has an obstruction point, collection tank, water treatment plant, distribution, and then all these clients are going to be metered.
The Permanent Secretary is, however, disappointed with the slow progress registered in Sesheke and Kaoma districts, urging the contractor on site to expedite the works.
When I talk about Sesheke, I'm not very impressed. Projects seem to be very slow. The contractor is very slow. On the other component, we have done the water abstraction point, part of distribution, and in the treatment plant, sand is not yet procured, which is supposed to be used as a medium for fully treating our waters. That is not done. And then going to Kaoma is also the same situation. Apparently, the contractor is the same.
Assistant Resident Engineer on site in Sesheke also gave an insight on some of the works that have been done under the project.
On this small towns water supply integrated system, we have constructed a pontoon intake, a water treatment plant, ablution blocks, and a septic point, where most of the sludge from the VIP latrines, from the ablution blocks will be dislodged. So for the water treatment plant, we have completed about 73% of the physical works. And the pontoon intake, we've done about 91%.
And in Senanga district, works are progressing well, which has elated District Commissioner Zita Spalo.
Excited because when the project here is complete, there will be no diseases like diarrhea because the water will be chlorinated and it will reduce diseases like diarrhea.
The $150 million project, once completed, will see development in water infrastructure, sanitation services, and capacity building and program management in 12 districts. Audrey Kalenga, Zanis News, Western Province.
We take our second and last break. Stay tuned for more stories.
Bushe cholera chinshi. Cholera bulwele bwa kupolomia. Omuntu ukwete cholera alapolomia sana eyo nonkuluka. Obusali buba ubwa menshi nokubutuluka ngomo basukire omupunga. Omulwele wa cholera takwata menshi mu mubiri pamulandu wa kuluka ero nokupolomia. Omulwele wa cholera kuti afwa munsa 12 na nguntile 12 hours nga taperwa omuti uwafikapo. Usho omuntu kuti akwata shani cholera. Okunwa menshi ayabula okuwamya nango ayafiko. Okulya ifya kulya nemino iyalamba nango mufipe ifya abula okusamfya na menshi ayasuma. Okulya ifya kulya ifyo basunga okwabula okufimbapo ifya kutira na balunshi baleikalapo. Okulya ifya kulya ifya shelepo ifya talala ifya kutira tabafisungire bwino nakalya iyo. Okulya ifya kulya ifyo bashitisha mu misebo. Okulya ifisabo elyo n'omusalo ifya abula okusamfya. Kuti twaichingirira shani ku bulwele bwa cholera. Wamyanya menshi yakunwa okupitira mu kuipika nango okubika mu chlorine. Sambeni kuminwa na sopo ilo na menshi ayasuma panuma ya kubonfye chimbusu. Kafyeniko ifya kulya ilyo tamulalia. Fimbeni pa fya kulya fyonse pakuti balunshi tabale ikalapo. Mwilalia ifya kulya fisangwa mu misebo. bonfye ni chimbusu inshita yonse mwila bonfya ifikunkubiti nangu ifupepala pakuposa ubusali shiningisha inokutila ubusali bonse bwaposwa mu chimbusu sungeni chimbusu ichabusaka nokufimbapo inshita yonse iyimbila abamiletelako chipa ni chimona pabumi.
Welcome back. Bank of Zambia Governor Denny Kalealia has announced an increase in the monetary policy rate from 11% in the last quarter of 2023 to 12.5% in this quarter. Announcing the development during a press briefing in Lusaka, Dr. Kalealia has explained that the increase in the policy rate is aimed at maintaining the inflation rate in the ranges of 6 to 8%. He has further disclosed that the inflation rate has continued to increase from 13.1% in December 2023 to 13.2% in January 2024 as a result of the consistent depreciation of the kwacha against major convertible currencies. Dr. Kalealia has further said that the depreciation of the local currency is also having a huge bearing on the country's inflation rate, including increased food and energy prices.
Just want to reiterate that the Monetary Policy Committee raised the policy rate by 150 basis points to 12.5%. Is still below where inflation is. But our assessment at this point is that these are the measures that we have taken. For example, the mopping up of liquidity, the issue of interventions in the way of foreign exchange sale, these all act to reduce the liquidity in the market. The other thing to note is that the exchange rate, for you to continue exchanging kwacha and the other currencies, you must have kwacha. So at some point, that will turn into too much of a negative that you stop, and then we start seeing innovations in the way of import substitution and the expenditure reduction. We understand, and we are not naive to think that this can happen overnight. No, but it's something that we have to work on if our economy is to remain sustainably strong. If the exchange rate has to remain stable, we have to earn more foreign exchange and reduce our demand for some of those imports, because we could do without them by producing.
Government has handed over assorted equipment packages to 5 women-led cooperatives in Kabwe under the Economic Empowerment Program. The packages, which include car wash equipment, sewing machines, poultry startups, including feed and vaccines, have been handed over by Provincial Permanent Secretary Myuna Mwanakampe. Mr. Mwanakampe says the move is intended to foster gender equality and to also improve the livelihood of women in communities. Details in this report.
Government has handed over empowerment equipment to 5 cooperatives after undergoing assessment and selection. Provincial Permanent Secretary Myuna Mwanakampe, who handed over the equipment, cautioned the beneficiaries to better their lives through the various tools that has been given to them. Mr. Mwanakampe says the empowerment is in line with the government's commitment to improve citizens' livelihoods.
It is a tangible manifestation of our commitment at providing women with tools they need to thrive. Therefore, we will not take kindly, and I repeat, yes, we will not take kindly any misuse of these utilities and utensils and tools that will be given. The tools need to be used properly. I wish to warn that this equipment will be withdrawn from any cooperative or group that will be found to be ill-treating or misusing.
And District Commissioner Lennox Shimambwa says the handover is a testimony of government's commitment to fulfill its campaign promises.
These are promises President Hakainde made. The same faith twakwete. Ile faith twakwete when we took office, when President Hakainde took office, is the same faith that you should have that today President Hakainde will fix this economy.
Principal Gender Officer Tamara Nkunika explains the procedure for selection and urges the general public to take advantage of the empowerment.
An assessment was done where we found out exactly your needs, and then we trained the cooperatives. After the training of the cooperatives, there was a selection that was done, and we're here today to witness the handover of the equipment to those selected cooperatives. Now, we're here to tell you that this is an ongoing process, so you go out there and tell other people to also register cooperatives. They can get their application forms through the DC's office, and for further inquiries, they can see me in my office.
For Zanis News in Kabwe, I'm Namatama Liwanga.
Chief Maguya of the Ngoni-speaking people in Chipata district has called for an effective partnership with the media in publicizing the 2024 Nchwala ceremony. The traditional leader says the media is an important partner that must be engaged in order to publicize the hosting of this year's ceremony. Chief Maguya was speaking during the 10th preparatory meeting of the Nchwala ceremony held at Laweni Palace in Mutenguleni area. Here's a report.
For the 2024 Nchwala ceremony have heightened as the ceremony is roughly 1 week away to be hosted. Chief Maguya of the Ngoni-speaking people in Chipata district has called for the media partnership in publicizing the traditional ceremony.
ngati tumaona tu yakine tuma function tuchitika niyo tumwambulira kweze dina barupa pano bechita kurusaka lero so kuwe dina ichitika niyo tumwambulira so kulizi mawelesi yesani unaunsa tufuna abantu akawera nyingi.
The traditional leadership has also called for sanity during and after the ceremony.
Tikambonya muga pamozi na ikosi ya makosi mwe wazimali muni chitira umbuni kuli aya asoenda na bimatakisi bana ajinja azimaya gamu kaba windo ya akuta kubeka teti ava kumwamowa last time bejigo ndiye mala akuyenda olpangani koni ndineza mufuna kabeno kachisanga chabjola mulingo wachisanga zamani ziba komiti ofunika ngozi wona chifuka mamalaina kwa maendelewani mulegeja banjira pamene mala akuzodusa wose ubjola mulingo wa maendeleo
enti sungire ulemu namwe machama ni kumchoka uko iyi zafu tenti kuzibuja ulemu chiakili na ukawalala tukumbwa watu lakini osetera na vyola wena hiki osetera na vyola lakini apasa nyama kuno okepa njia ugulisa njimbo chakura tete tieni pamene kututsena kuti tiwere kuno kaba uje izasuta angati wene wekawalala uku osakutaka akikonka na mbili iba ndabo asaida kuta akuja fundo timuongeze ombaro tamjeze vakulia ngati sepa la kawalala ndi kuti vakulia vika pake so paicho kutuwereramu tieni tiziuje intizafu kuti ukawalala ukaleka yayo vakulia kuperekewa ni vasero tose imbi.
Sylvester Shimba for Zanis in Chipata District, Eastern Province.
In education news, Masaiti District Commissioner Eni Matutu has called on teachers to change the narrative of poor academic performance among pupils in the district. Nkwachi Chanda reports that Ms. Matutu said this during a meeting with head teachers that she will not condone a situation where the district remains the least performing in the province during the end-of-year examinations.
Head teachers from all over Masaiti have gathered at I Dream School to review the just-ended 2023 academic year performance of pupils during the last year's examinations. During the meeting, Masaiti District Commissioner Eni Matutu emphasized the need for an improvement in the learner performance for the district.
2024, this one, education must improve. But Debs, be firm on your head teachers. Head teachers, be firm on your teachers. Be firm. We want to see schools maintaining the standards. If they have standards, if they are low, perform better. We have schools, not yet to mention those schools, it will frustrate others. I know we shall be at par by the end of this year. Head teachers of Masaiti, help our children.
Ms. Matutu also warned the newly recruited teachers against requesting for transfers.
Every day they want to apply in the rural. You don't say in Masaiti. Have you ever lived in a village? Said, no, but I can stay. No. Immediately they are recruited, they want to go back. Please, nobody should ask for any transfer. I'll be giving transfers. If you sign, I must endorse. Applied in Masaiti. Let them stay here. Don't waste our time. We have people want to teach in Masaiti. No child is going to go. Anybody recruited this year, if they want to go out, tell me.
The District Education Board Secretary assured the District Commissioner of an improved academic performance in schools.
We want, therefore, to assure you that what you have indicated this morning to all of us, we are taking that seriously. We are taking that seriously so that by the end of 2024, we will ensure that things have turned around in Masaiti. We have put mechanisms in place not to wait up to the end of the year, but every term we'll be evaluating our performance and then be able to project how we are to perform in the final examinations.
Nkwachi Chanda, Zanis, Masaiti District.
Government has sent 16 Zambian students to South Africa to undergo different specialized skills training in the manufacturing industry. Speaking during the send-off ceremony, Minister of Technology and Science, Felix Mutati, has disclosed that government with its cooperating partners has invested 4.4 million rands towards the training of the students. And State House Director for Economic Affairs, Florence Muleya, urged the students to put in their best as they undertake the new journey in life, adding that the country will look forward to their contribution to improve the manufacturing landscape. Details in this report.
It is a send-off ceremony for the students who have been selected to undergo specialized training in manufacturing. These 16 students who undergo a 4-year training in manufacturing at the Production Technology Association of South Africa, which is a center of excellence in toolmakers training in South Africa. Teveta, Notec, and the Zambia Association of Manufacturers, ZAM, recently signed a memorandum of understanding with the South African Center of Excellence to equip Zambian students with critical principles and competence in manufacturing. Minister of Technology and Science, Felix Mutati, officiated at the send-off ceremony.
We are going to say no to be the conveyor belt of imports. And the driver of that process is a new beginning, which is you, the 16. Don't let us down. We know that from ZDA, that manufacturing is only contributing 8% to GDP.
State House Director for Economic Affairs, Florence Muleya, urged the students to improve the landscape of manufacturing industry in the country once they gain knowledge from the training.
Zambia is looking to you, and that's the responsibility that you have, is to come and change this landscape in manufacturing. So you are very privileged, and you should take that responsibility very seriously.
The successful send-off of these youths has excited Teveta and Notec.
This is very much in line with the government policy of skills development as a way of value addition to the manufacturing industry.
The college also intends to return out of this group 4 best performing graduates that will be employed upon completion to teach in machining and manufacturing.
For the Zambia Association of Manufacturers, ZAM, this is a step forward to improving the manufacturing industry in the country.
It creates an opportunity that will have greater impact on the manufacturing sector and the country as a whole, because we have experienced the impact of the lack of expertise and the impact on the manufacturing sector.
Jane Simalumba Zanis in Lusaka.
Thank you, Jen, for that report. Still in education news, enrollment of learners at Nchelenge Secondary School in Luapula Province has increased from 2,191 in 2023 to 2,800 in 2024. School head teacher Belvis Chikoma has attributed the increase to the secondary school's bursary under the Constituency Development Fund and the Keeping Girls in School programs, among others.
Established in 1966 is Nchelenge Secondary School. The school is on record of having produced many, including ministers that are contributing to the development of the country. However, 3 years ago, the school could only manage to enroll up to 300 learners due to its poor infrastructure. Slowly but surely, the school is today getting back to its glory days, as can be seen from the increased enrollments.
So we sat down with my teachers to say, what will be the approach? Let's improve the learner performance, and we're on the ground to ensure that the performance is improved. Then we also start touching down, facelifting the infrastructure, painting, rehabilitating the other places, and also engaging cooperating partners to help us with sanitation within the school and also some rehabilitations. So the CDF, I need to thank the government of the day. It is really a game changer. We applied for the hostels so that it can cater the number that is increasing, and we are given 3 hostels, 2 for girls and also 1 for the boys. As I speak now, the hostels, they are, should I say, the work has gone as far as 85%. Then the other thing that is going to increase the enrollment is the coming of KGS. KGS, it has pumped in 210 pupils that are coming on borders. These are girls. So meaning on top of what we have gone again another inclusion of those 200 plus pupils that are going to come. And also Comfort, they have also increased the number of enrollment, plus also the ones that we have.
Mr. Chikoma says the school is still grappling with a number of challenges.
Problem of sanitation. The hostels that we have, of course, the CDF is coming in, but currently the ablutions, they are dilapidated because they are old, as I've mentioned, 58 years, so they need a touch so that they can be in a good condition. We're also experiencing a lot of leakages in the roofings because the roof that we have is asbestos, and we have been guided by the health team to say asbestos it has got a time frame.
Yvonne Nombo reporting for Zanis News in Nchelenge District.
Lutale Ward Councillor in Mumbwa, Oscar Siusiku, has appealed to government to make available cheaper maize to Food Reserve Agency depots to enable people affected by hunger following a persistent dry spell to purchase the commodity. But District Commissioner Namukolo Hayumbu has however revealed to Zanis in an interview that government has already given a go-ahead for people to start buying maize at the Food Reserve Agency. Here's a report.
The one-month dry spell in Mumbwa district has started manifesting its effects on the crops in Lutale area of Chief Mlendema. Lutale Ward Councillor Oscar Siusiku has called the government to make a stock of maize in Food Reserve Agency depots accessible to farmers whose crops fields have been affected.
I'm asking government through the Office of District Commissioner to bring the commodity at Mlendema depot there so that our people can find it easy when they sell their goods be able to go with a bicycle and or even an horse cart to go and get the commodity, other than traveling all the way from here to the township where the FRI shed is.
The situation is worrying among the farmers.
You can see we're in the field of beans. We've got these beans under loan. Now because of the dryness that we have, as you can see, there's nothing that is growing here. So we can appeal to the government to help us here in Murendema village.
Our maize are drying. The way we are just seeing here, it is a very good example of the entire chiefdom. This is what we can find in all the villages in Murendema chiefdom. Our plea, we are asking to the government that if the government can come to our aid to help us with maybe relief food or food for selling.
Mungwa District Commissioner Namkulo Hayumbu has given the position of the government over the selling of FRA maize.
We requested from FRA and they gave us permission to sell as a district. One bag of maize is costing 330 kwacha. And the procedure is people have to come through the DC's office, who will give them, and they also provide them with a slip. And when coming, they should carry an NRC, their NRC, which will be recorded on the purchase slip. And on top of that, the office will give them the account number for NatSave Bank, because they don't have to take the money to FRA.
Krugasiankuru, Zanis, Mumbwa.
And now sports. The National Sports Department has completed the validation process of the National Sports Policy, which is currently under review. Ministry of Youth, Sports and Arts Principal Sports Development Officer Ebeo Samungole says the department decided to review the 2012 National Sports Policy to ensure it matches the modern sports trends and in return create a conducive environment for sports development in the country. He said this during the Southern Province National Sports Policy validation process in Choma. Here now is a reminder of the top stories. Crop performance in Kasama impressive. Government empowers more women cooperatives. Canada expresses interest in Zambia's mining sector. Plus, monetary policy rate increases. That is all we had on this edition of Zanis News. My name is Amos Zulu. On behalf of the entire production team, enjoy the rest of the programming and continue watching Zanis TV. Bye-bye.